It's just undeniable that teachers are the most important factor in what happens in terms of student achievement. We believe it's our obligation to help teachers be the most effective they can be and to place better and better tools in teachers' hands.
So this project is a phenomenal investment to ensure that every single solitary youth has an effective teacher every single year.
You know, we talk about from the top down. This is really from the bottom up, and there's no pure form of education and interaction between the teacher and the student.
The 4 sites that we work with are sites that are all very high need. Memphis, Tampa, Pittsburgh, Los Angeles. These schools have a track record of very effective performance and outstanding college acceptance rates for youth who have been historically marginalized and for youth who have historically not had access to highly effective teachers.
Any of us who've been a teacher before, we know that moment when a mind is unlocked.
You can see on their face that these children want hope, they want inspiration and support.
What we want to do is figure out how do you really sustain, reward, develop, and recognize those teachers.
There's not a few great teachers out there, there's a lot of great teachers out there. And we need to pull them into the profession. And the good ones we have to, push them to become great.
So this grant, what that does is, okay, how do you first evaluate what makes a good teacher, but how do you actually measure it?
Data systems that can link individual student performance with teacher performance. Data systems that are able to provide teachers with the tools and information they need.
We're listening to the teachers who have been very successful and are willing to talk about it.
I can be a master teacher where I'm opening up my practice to other people so that everybody's coming and learning from each other.
We'll be testing and trying a lot of different things to see which strategies used by teachers are most valid and reliable and fair.
Bringing these various schools together to create the very best of practices.
It starts giving us a universal definition of great teachers.
And that in this country we can come to a place where we finally understand both the art and the science of teaching.
We will become a model district of how things should be done across the United States.
And I think we're all about to lift up and really have a paradigm shift in the field, and long overdue, because the victims really have been the children.
It would have taken us 15 years to get where we're going to get in 5. I think we're going to get 80–90% of our kids college ready, and that's what's so exciting.
It was always told to me, you are going to college. It's your job. You are going to college.
She tells us that we're the new generation. We're the new starting.
We're the future.
Yeah, we're the future.
You have to be the best that you can be because we're all counting on you.
Teachers change society. They help individuals become who they want to be, dream what they want to do, and achieve them.
Every student has the right to a highly effective teacher. Every student has the right to the same quality of education that our most privileged youth have a right to. And until it is every youth and every youth's fundamental civil rights are met, this project has a ways to go.
After reviewing experts' take on effective teachers, we have conducted our own documentary here at Hamilton High School to see what teachers and students feel is an acceptable effective teacher, which all leads back to our subject, Mr. O'Malley.
An effective teacher is somebody who makes learning fun.
I think an effective teacher has control of the classroom.
One who can get the message across to the students in a positive manner, in a way they will understand.
Teacher is a teacher that can really captivate the students.
An effective teacher is one who not just sits at a desk or a board and points at what they're doing. One that usually just walks around and interacts with the classrooms and students. And overall, it's just not just a classroom, but you're also having a good time learning.
A teacher that has passion, a teacher that realizes that their job is just as important as their personal home life.
Here are the interviews we gathered from Hamilton High School about Mr. O'Malley.
Mr. O'Malley is a very good teacher. He's changed my outlook on a few things, such as how stupid Facebook is.
I think he's very effective. It's not that he's combative, but he challenges students. He doesn't let students slack,
and some students wind up getting frustrated about it. That's just because he believes that they can do more. I think he's a very good teacher.
Do life experience help you as a teacher? Yeah, absolutely. The longer you live, the more lessons you learn, the more quality stories you can give that relate to whatever the subject is, and I think kids need to have as much wisdom as possible in their lives.
I feel like I do have a different outlook on things since I've taken Mr. O'Malley's class. He's a good teacher, especially like the sociology realm. He really makes you like think of things differently, look at both sides of the argument. Everything that has to do with our lives, really you look at, and it does give you a different perspective.
From what I know about Mr. O'Malley and his ability to be an effective teacher, I would say that he has a good personal connection with the students, and he cares very much about the content, and he sort of bridges those two gaps together.
I believe I do look at things differently being in Mr. O'Malley's class, although we fight a lot, and I probably disagree with most things he said, but I do look at life differently being in his class. And
he's a very effective teacher because his classes have to do with real life and...
What ways do I go about being an effective teacher? Well, like any teacher, I do my plans, I do my reading, I do all the things that any one of us do, but I like to challenge kids. I don't like to accept mediocrity.
Any students that I have would give feedback in regards to Mr. O'Malley's classes. We actually share a lot of students between his sociology and my psychology, or his US2 and my psychology students. And I always hear wonderful feedback.
I feel more intelligent after taking his class, really, in the whole aspect of life.
Okay. Do I agree with Mr. O'Malley's philosophy of teaching? I absolutely do. In the history department, we sort of have to put on a show. We're sort of salesmen along with being teachers, and we're sort of very similar in that aspect. And since he's much older, I sort of copied that from him.
Is my teaching method more effective? I don't know. I'm not that presumptuous. There are a lot of great teachers in here, and everybody has.
Mr. O'Malley also likes when I wink at him.
They say when it comes to teaching, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Well, I say Mr. O'Malley, he sprints marathons.
Do I agree with Mr. O'Malley's way of teaching? Yeah, 100% I do. I think he's very unique. I think he tries to put himself on the level that kids will understand best. He injects a lot of humor, which I think is necessary, and actually making kids want to learn. He's very well read, and yeah, I very much agree with his style of teaching.
Do life experience help you as a teacher? Yeah, absolutely. The longer you live, the more lessons you learn, the more quality stories you give that relate to whatever the subject is, and I think kids need to have as much wisdom as possible in their lives.
Would I take Mr. O'Malley's classes? I would probably like the entertainment value of the classes.
If I was in high school, would I take Mr. O'Malley's class? Yeah, I think, in hindsight, I would take his classes, but at the time, in high school, it was kind of quiet, and Mr. O'Malley's the opposite of quiet. So, going back in time, yeah, I wish I did. I'll put it to you that way.
The feedback about Mr. O'Malley and his teaching, I know that some of the students I have were sort of his mentees, and they have very good things to say about him in terms of his fatherly-like approach to being a teacher.
To add entertainment to the classroom, Mr. O'Malley will sometimes refer to his students as sloths.